Hi everyone, this is Helen and welcome to Modern Pepper. So today we will be making two Korean side vegetable dishes. As you may know, Korean cuisine is well known for having many different kinds of vegetable side dishes that you would have with rice. So today we'll be making two Korean side vegetable dishes that are popular and very common to find in restaurants, especially here in the States. So if you go to any Korean restaurants here in the States, most likely you will find these two side vegetable dishes when you order your Korean meal. The first one is called SukJuNaMul. These are Myung sprouts. So they come in a package like this. Some stores may just have like a loose bulk and you could buy them. So these are the split and peeled Myung beans. And they look like this, yellow. So when these sprout, it turns into this. And you might have seen these at your Vietnamese restaurants when you order pho. It always comes with a side of these. So you could have them fresh too, but for the way it's made in Korean side dishes, we're gonna blanch them. The second vegetable that we'll be making is KongNaMul. So basically, they also come in a package like this, and some places, depending on how big the supermarket is, they might have a bulk loose package that you could just grab as much as you need or as little as you need. KongNaMul, this is soybean sprouts. So basically, it's soybeans that have sprouted. Sort of the proper way to do this is these sprouts, as you can see, have a little tail, and you're supposed to snap them off. Yes, you heard correctly. You're supposed to take every single sprout and snap them off. Okay, that's how it's properly done. But because I'm a mom of three, I really don't have time to go through each strand of this and remove the tail. And there's no taste or bitter taste to the tail. It's just more for aesthetics. And you know, for me, I grew up with a mom who worked 12 to 14 hours. So she certainly didn't come home after a long day of work and sat there and literally snipped off every little piece of these bean sprout ends, okay? So you don't have to do that, but I just wanted to make it clear, really proper way to do it is to snap off all the little tails of each of these bean sprouts. As with all of my video recipes, please visit modernpepper.com where I will have a detailed list of all the ingredients and written recipe instructions. Now these two vegetables are your classic white side vegetable dishes that's typically served. And the other one that always is served with these, most likely than not, is the Korean spinach. So if you haven't watched that video, please do check it out. If you're not a fan of spinach, not to worry, because you could replace it with any greens you like, for instance, kale leaves. So that video will go over how to substitute different greens to make your Korean style blanched side vegetables. And you know, one of the great things about Korean side vegetable dishes, they're super low in calorie. I mean, the amount of oil that we use is so minimal, and the spices are very basic, and yet it just gives you that sort of crunchy and filling vegetable that you could have over brown rice or brown rice with beans. So it really becomes a superfood. So I hope you try this at home, and I hope you subscribe to my channel, because I would love to connect with you soon, again, every Thursday, which is the day that I upload new videos. And let's get started on making our SukJuNaMul Myung bean sprouts and KongNaMul soybean sprouts side dishes. Hi everyone, so we're gonna get started on making our Myung bean sprouts side vegetable dish, also called SukJuNaMul. I am so excited to share this recipe with you. Let's get started. So our water is boiling hot, and we're just gonna open the lid. So my pot is about halfway full, and I'm gonna take some salt, kosher salt, and create a salt bath, and put a generous amount. And how much salt to put, just make sure it's salty. So you could take a spoonful and taste it and just make sure it's salty. This is about a pound of the Myung bean sprouts. And we're just gonna put it in here. And notice how I have a bowl of water next to me. And we're just gonna quickly blanch the Myung beans. And while that's blanching, I'm gonna add 2 cloves of garlic, fresh garlic, and I'm just gonna blanch that as well. And why are we blanching the garlic? just to draw out the raw taste of the fresh garlic, so that when we chop it up and add it to our mung beans later on, it will taste nice and yummy without the bitter sort of raw taste of fresh garlic. So it has been a minute, and you really don't want to go more than a minute because we still want our mung bean sprouts to be nice and crunchy when we eat it. So we're going to take it out and put it in our water bath right here, and you don't really need to add ice to it. So we need to wash these sprouts under running water 2 to 3 times. Hi, so we just finished blanching our mung beans or SukJuNaMul, and these are the 2 garlic cloves that we blanched together that we're just going to put aside for now. And we're just going to take a little bit into our hands and then just squeeze out the excess water, okay? And we don't want to over squeeze it where we're really squeezing out the nutritional juices of the mung beans, but just squeezing out the excess water just a little bit. So I'm squeezing it 3, 4, 5 times. And it should look like this. And then you just put it in here in our mixing bowl and just taking a little more and just repeat the process. So now we're just gonna shake the mung bean sprouts and just kind of let them breathe again, since we kind of literally choke them a little bit. So just let that breathe and put that aside. And we're gonna take our 2 garlic cloves that we blanched and just finely mince them. We just minced our 2 garlic cloves, and we're gonna add that here. And then we're gonna add 1 scallion that we finely chopped. And then we're gonna take some salt and just lightly sprinkle it. That's 2 generous pinches, and we could always add more, so don't over salt it from the beginning. Some fresh ground black pepper. And we're gonna add just a dash of Korean toasted sesame seeds. These are toasted with salt, so these are a little bit salty too, so be mindful of that. And then we're going to drizzle just a little bit of sesame oil. So again, I will have a detailed list of all the ingredients and written recipe instructions on my website at modernpepper.com, so you don't need to take out your pen and paper and write all this down, okay? So it's all conveniently ready for you at modernpepper.com. So you can smell the saltiness and then the fresh vegetable smell, and the scallions are just like giving off this really nice aroma. And then the garlic that we just added in here with the sesame oil is just creating such a nice aromatherapy that I'm drooling right now as I'm speaking with you. So just gently mix all the ingredients together and just be gentle as you toss the mung bean sprouts. And then we're gonna taste it. So, you know, for me, saltiness is very personal. So taste it and salt it according to your preference, okay? So I'm just gonna have a taste to see if this is the right amount of saltiness for me. It's perfectly salty enough for me, but by all means, if you want to add more salt, do so. And this is ready. So you could just serve this with rice, but hang on, because I'm going to show you how to enjoy this over rice at home without having to do a full-blown bibimbap ingredient that requires anywhere from 10 to, I don't know, 20 different ingredients in there. So I'll do a separate video on making proper bibimbap for now. I'm going to show you how to enjoy this over rice with just a few ingredients that you could find in your refrigerator. Now we're going to get started on making our 콩나물, also known as soybean sprouts. This recipe is super easy, and unlike the mung bean sprouts that we just made, 콩나물 soybean sprouts are a bit more nutty in taste, and again, it's super filling, and it's one of my go-to superfoods that I completely love to have with rice. And it's just simply a filling vegetable that just satisfies my hunger. So I hope you try this at home, and I can't wait to get started. So make sure to preheat your large skillet at super high temperature, and we're gonna add a tablespoon of olive oil. This is about a pound of soybean sprouts, And we're just gonna drop it in here. And then we're gonna add a little bit of salt, a few pinches of salt. That's about 3 generous pinches of salt and 2 finely minced garlic cloves. And then we're just gonna turn this over. And you could smell the garlic and the olive oil lightly sauteing the bean sprouts. And basically our goal is to just kind of sweat it out. And after we take it off the pan, it's still gonna continue cooking. And this side dish is meant to be served somewhat crunchy, so we do not want to overcook our soybean sprouts. So it's almost done. Let that saute for another 30 seconds. And my heat is still at super high. And now we're gonna lower our heat to medium. And then we're gonna add our green scallions. That's 1 green scallion that's been finely minced. Almost done. It's getting sweaty and wilting away, and that means it's almost done cooking. And then our final touch is toasted Korean sesame seeds. I'm just gonna add a little bit, and I'm using the one that's roasted with salt in it, so this also is a bit salty. And we're just gonna kind of mix it around a little bit more. And it's done. And then we need to quickly transfer this to a bowl. Now this is our 콩나물 soybean sprouts that we just took off the skillet. I mean, it just smells really nutty. It's definitely a different smell and a different taste from the Myung bean sprouts that we just made. Myung bean sprouts, I would say, is a bit more on the watery side and mild side, and this is more crunchy, a little slightly less watery, but it's still watery compared to other vegetables. And the smell is very nutty, and I don't mean peanut butter nutty or peanut nutty. It just has this like fragrance of nutty, creamy smell that is just so fragrant that I could literally eat this all day. And you know what? The calories on this is just so minimal. And you saw how little oil I used. What I like to do after I take it off the skillet is just kind of like move them around a little bit, because you could see how it's still steaming. And I like to cool it down a little bit, because this is meant to be served so that it's crunchy as you eat it. So just always make sure to kind of just spread it around a little bit so it cools down quickly. And then we're just gonna have a quick taste, because again, saltiness is really personal, so you could add more or less. So taste it as you go along. So I'm just gonna have a quick taste. It's a perfect amount of saltiness for me. The only thing that I would add is a little bit of black pepper, and just a little, not a lot. Just mix it up one more time. And this is cooling down really nice. And as you could probably hear through my microphone, you could hear the crunchy sound of these bean sprouts. And I cannot tell you how satisfying this is to have with a little bit of rice. And again, just like with the Myung beans, I'm going to show you how to enjoy this without having to create a formal bibimbap that requires, like, I don't know, at least a dozen different ingredients. And of course, I'll have a separate video to do a formal video recipe on how to make bibimbap, but for now, this is my go-to quick, simple bibimbap that I would use this vegetable with some rice. So hold on, it's coming next. You could just enjoy these bean sprouts and Myung bean sprouts as is and eat it just as a salad or as a side dish to whatever you're having for dinner or lunch. Or I like to just make myself a quick Korean style bibimbap, and bibimbap literally means, bibim means to mix, pop means rice. So I know in the States, many of you might be used to having the traditional bibimbap with, like, you know, at least a dozen different ingredients, and that's a very proper way to have bibimbap. But most Koreans at home, their version of bibimbap is literally what's in the refrigerator and what's left over, and usually they would have that at nighttime, and that's also called BanChan, where it's called a night snack, where you just like literally put together whatever side vegetables you have and you mix it all up. And that's one of my sort of childhood memories, when late at night after dinner I would complain to my grandmother that I'm hungry, and then she would just go in the kitchen and get a big bowl and just dump some rice and whatever side vegetables that she had left over from dinner, and she would just add a little bit of gochujang. And if you don't know what gochujang is, this is Korean red pepper paste, and it's a staple ingredient in many of Korean dishes. So, and it's so versatile. You could use it for so many things, as stews and soup, to creating marinades, to also making condiments for lettuce wraps, and it just goes on and on and on. So you could buy this at any Korean grocery store, or you could buy this on Amazon, which I will have links to in my description box below, or also on my website at modernpepper.com, and have it conveniently shipped to your house. Okay, so what I have in here is our bean sprouts that we made. I added a little bit of avocado, and I added some shredded roasted seaweeds, and I just took scissors and shredded them, but you could certainly just rip them with your fingers and add them here. I added a little bit of scrambled eggs, and if you want to add sunny side up, by all means, you can do that too. And just a little bit of gochujang. And same thing for this side as well, and I'm using soybean sprouts. Of course, if I have some kimchi, I cannot not add kimchi to this. So if you don't want to add kimchi, don't do it. So if you haven't watched my other video on how to properly ferment and store your kimchi when you bring it home from the store, make sure to check that out. And I'm just gonna add just a few pieces to here, to both of them. Just a few pieces, you could add more or less. And now, this is also important too. You just take a little bit of the kimchi juice and you just sprinkle it on top. Now, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. Now, you could go a little bit more if you want to and add some bulgogi, whether it's beef or chicken bulgogi. And I actually have a video for that too, so you could check that out. And also for my vegetarian friends, I also have a recipe for mushroom bulgogi, so make sure to check that out. And if you add this to it, voila, you have your own version of bibimbap at home without having to do like at least a dozen different ingredients to do a proper bibimbap. So I'm gonna mix it all up. Oh, I'm drooling as I'm mixing this. It just brings me back to those late night snack time with my family back in Korea. You just stay up late, watch TV, and then someone's like, oh, hey, I'm hungry, go make some, bibimbap. And so usually it's the younger one that gets ordered to go to the kitchen and whip this up. And I'm using brown rice. Also, if you have not watched my video on how to make Korean rice, make sure to check that out, because Korean rice is completely different from other Asian rice. There's not only just white rice, but there's also brown rice. And then there's other grains that we add to it to make it a superfood. And then if you want to take it to the next level of making it super duper healthy, then you add a variety of beans. So make sure to check that out. I share tips on how to store and freeze Korean rice, so that if you live in a household where rice isn't something that you consume on a daily basis, you can make a bunch and store them in the freezer, and then just pull them out when you want to make a quick meal like this one. So I'm gonna have a taste. I have some avocado egg with a little bit of kimchi and some bean sprouts, and it's mixed up in the gochujang sauce. As you can probably hear from the mic, the crunchiness of this dish is just so satisfying. It just gives me that bite of like something that's substantial, and the creaminess of the avocado, it just adds that buttery taste. And then you have the kimchi that gives you a little bit of that kick and vinegary taste. And then again, it really goes back to the crunchy taste of these bean sprouts that are so good. But it's just so yummy. It's so satisfying. It's like having a healthy bowl of just delicious vegetable sides with healthy avocados, and then you have your protein from your egg. I mean, what more can you ask for a quick and satisfying Korean vegetable side dish? I hope you try this at home, and I hope you really enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, I would greatly appreciate a thumbs up. So click on that thumbs up icon below. And I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel so we could cook again together. And I would love to share more cooking tips on how to make Korean food and make it practical for you to replicate at home. And I would also love to make everyday dishes that are not Korean, but using one or a few Korean ingredients. So my channel is Everyday Cooking with a Korean Twist. So I hope you join me again and hope to see you on Thursday, because Thursday is the day that I upload a new video. So until then, happy eating and see you very soon. Bye now.